Okay, I'm back and it's another beautiful green day. We're starting the 1st of July, which is the end of the second quarter, beginning of the third quarter in the green. We also have Bitcoin breaking out of a range, which it has been in since the beginning of June. So June was like a full downward range month for Bitcoin, and we've had actually a breakout on the charts. Now, I guess the big question that everybody's asking is this a real breakout, and are we now going to start changing direction, or is this just another fake out and a short squeeze? Because the data actually does show that a lot of this breakout was a short squeeze. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the data. We're going to see whether this is a real breakout or whether this is just another fake out that's just teasing us. And tomorrow we're going to carry on going down. Then we're going to talk about Baked, and we are working through all the data. We are doing a post-mortem. We have a lot more information than we had yesterday. We're going to do a whole post-mortem on Baked at the end of the show. Where we're wrong, we'll admit we were wrong. Where we're right, we'll admit we're right. And we'll make some decisions together about what's going to happen with Baked going forward. So got a lot to do today. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back in a green day. Let's go, guys. It's nice to come back for a green day. It's nice to see the bubbles like this on a green day. A lot of people actually say that every time I go away, the bubbles go red, and every time I come back, the bubbles go green. So they're kind of saying, don't go away. But I mean, I had to go away because we were filming Killer Whales in LA last week. It was an unbelievable experience. I think season 2 is going to be so much bigger than season 1. The caliber of the project, the caliber of the production, the caliber of people was absolutely unbelievable. Nice also, as I said, to come back to a green market. Obviously not happy about what happened with Baked, and we're going to go through all the Baked stuff at the end of the show. You can see I've kept it for us over here. I've kept all the stuff there. So at the end of the show, we're going to go through everything on Baked. In the meantime, let's quickly welcome all our new guests if we've got new people on the show. And I know we've got a lot of new people coming in. Just look at this. You remember that about a month ago, we were on 800,000 subscribers. Now we're on 933,000 subscribers. We're very fast going to the 1 million subscribers. And I guess one of the reasons why people are subscribing is the Banter bags, because you know the only subscribers to Banter and Banter Plus can get the Banter bags. Now, how does it work? You have to be subscribed to Banter and you have to be subscribed to Banter Plus to win the Banter bags. When Banter gets to 1 million and Banter Plus gets to 350,000, we give away the Banter bags. Now, Banter's almost at 1 million. We'll work on Banter Plus to get Banter Plus to 350,000. Then we'll give away the bags. In the bags, we have a new project called 𝗕𝗤𝗡𝗧. This is a project that we invested in. What is 𝗕𝗤𝗡𝗧? 𝗕𝗤𝗡𝗧 is a competitor almost to Waze or HiveMapper. What's the one on Solana? It's called I think it's called HiveMapper. It's the one where people actually install cameras in their cars and they can actually map out the roads. But the only difference with 𝗕𝗤𝗡𝗧 is that 𝗕𝗤𝗡𝗧 doesn't actually need unique equipment. You can actually just do it with your phone. So every Uber driver, every person can actually just put their phone, map, and actually earn tokens. And we're building the 𝗕𝗤𝗡𝗧 project together. Now they're launching. Let me check my notes. I think they're launching tomorrow. They're launching on the 2nd of July. KuCoin, Gate, Mexi, Gate. They're obviously launching on Gate. They've got amazing investors. Now they built on a platform called Peak. Peak is the 𝗕𝗢𝗡 L1, which we've spoken about before. It was actually one of our top conviction bets. But they're also, I think, going on to Solana. So look, that is one to look out for. They launch tomorrow. They did give us tokens. $1,000 worth of 𝗕𝗤𝗡𝗧 is in the Banter bags. If you want them, subscribe to the channel. Be part of the 933,145 people that have subscribed. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show. Remember, there's a lot of alpha here today. You want the alpha, smash the like button. Destroy the like button. I know some people are mad about Baked, and we'll talk about it at the end. But the reality is, once again, free money, people complaining about free money. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that later in the show. I don't want to ruin the rest of the show for those who don't really care about Baked. Some people come here for the alpha. So let's give them the alpha, and then we can go and talk about everything that is Baked. So let's get into it. As I said, green day on the markets. The market's also giving us a whole lot of clues if you look at the green. For one, you can see ENS is up. We're going to talk about that. Layer 0 is up. We're going to talk about that. KASPER is down. We're going to talk about why KASPER is down, why Celestia is down. All of that is going to be addressed in the show. I think right now, what we've got to look at is we've got to look at what happened on the Bitcoin chart. Now, we're going to analyze this in depth. So what I mean by we've got to analyze this in depth. Number one, Bitcoin has been in this range for a long time now. Bitcoin has actually been in the range. I'm quickly going to measure the days for for 124 days. We've been ranging sideways. When we get to the top of the range, we get excited that we may actually break out. It bounced perfectly off the bottom of the range, which is a very, very, very encouraging sign. So had we tested, gone below the bottom, or maybe bounced from somewhere else, I would have been quite worried. But what you can see here is that the bounce is perfect from the bottom of the range, which is amazing. It's an amazing sign. Also, this trend that we've been in, this downtrend, which actually started on the 8th of June, you can say it started in the beginning of June. We went all the way down June in the downtrend. Come 1st of July, the beginning of the new quarter, the beginning of the second part of the year, bang, we break through this section over here. Now, the first part of the breakthrough, if you analyze the data, the first part of the breakthrough, as you can see, the spike that happened over here, that first part of the breakthrough that happened was a short, destroyed some of the shorts. So you can see as the price went up, the open interest went down. That means that some shorts were actually destroyed. Now, the big question is whether more shorts will actually be destroyed or whether that's not going to happen. If you zoom out to a weekly time frame, so that was on a daily. If you zoom out to the weekly time frame, you see something very interesting. And I'll try and zoom in for those people who can't see because they're on mobile phones. But look at that wick over there. That's a weekly, what they call a demand wick. You see, so I think it's Kevin Svensson that said, yeah, it is Kevin Svensson. He said, there is your demand wick. And the demand wick usually says that the bottom is in. This is the metric that tells us that the bottom, well, not the metric, but it's shown us, it's an indicator that the bottom is in. So I quickly, to be honest, I didn't know what a demand wick was. So I went to Google and I just Googled what is a demand wick. And the exit failure is when the market returns to a supply or demand zone and then proceeds to make a move in the direction you anticipated before failing. So in other words, it failed to go down and now it starts to go up and it's turning up the pin bar candle. So that's pretty much what it is. Now, as I said to you, one of the things that we notice about this dip over here or this recovery over here is that if you look at it on the daily, you can see that we've broken out exactly on the 30th of June. We broke out of this downward trend that we were in. If you look at this in terms of the monthly returns, we've looked at this monthly returns charts before. If you look at this in terms of the monthly returns, what you can see is that when we have a red June, big July, red June, big July, red June, big July, red June, big July, red June, big July. What we're seeing is that if we get a red June, typically we get a big July. And if you look at it relative to others, so this is minus 7%. Here, there was a minus 6% here, and in July it went up 20%. There was a minus 3% here, and it went up 24% here. So what it feels like is maybe, and again, maybe, and we look at it based on this metric over here. Maybe what's happening is sell in May and go away is now finishing. And what we're getting is people actually starting to come back and say, okay, look, we sold in May. It's May, June, now July's here. Maybe some people are coming back, though I think that it might be a little bit premature for people to be coming back. Murad says, reason one to be bullish for July on this last day of bearish June. And he points to every other time that this has happened. And you can see he points to every other time that this has happened. And he kind of says, look, now we're here. And we could get another little spike up for the summer. So this is encouraging. This little breakout on the last day of the quarter is encouraging. As Milky Bull says the breakout of the falling wedge is complete, but it needs to reclaim 66,000 to boost the bull confidence. So look, maybe we'll carry on trending. Maybe we'll carry on trending upwards. He's talking about 66,000. That's exactly the middle of the range. You see, we have been like toggling between top of range, middle of the range. Now we're in the bottom. Let's quickly just check the RSI. Let's quickly just put the RSI in here. And there we go. Let's just quickly check the RSI. So the stochastic. So stochastic is pretty much on the up. So let's see what actually happens here. But I want to see the stochastic on the weekly. I'm looking at it on the weekly. Okay, so let's see what happens. Let's watch the stochastic RSI. In the meantime, Rect Capital, he's got a point here. He says, look, it's the quarterly close. The quarterly close candle is in. It's official. He says basically Bitcoin successfully retested an old major resistance as support. So I think what we're trying to see here, what we're seeing here, is that the charts are telling us that everything is okay. On top of the charts, though, we do have a whole lot of more bullish things. And I want to show you a whole a whole lot of more bullish things. So here are the bullish things over here. The first thing is the Bollinger Bands, which is the Bollinger Bands. You can see what's happening is they're tightening. If you look at the 4 other times that they've been at these levels in the last 8 years, so this is the history of 8 years, there have been 4 other times. Here's 1. Here's what happened to the price. Here's 2. The price went down. Here's 3. The price went up. Here's 4. The price went up. And here's the 5th one. So the question is, which way will we move? But what we know for sure is that there actually is a major move. If I look at where the traders are going, now I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, because these are traders on Binance, and on Binance, 76% of people are going long. Now, it feels weird because the sentiment is actually quite bad. Let's actually go to Crypto Fear and Greed and just look at Crypto Fear and Greed. And let's just look at what the fear and greed is saying to us, because it feels like for change, people were actually buying the fear. So if, okay, 53, it's now neutral. Last week it was quite fearful. Everyone thought this dial was actually broken. That's one thing. I did read this tweet from James Van Straten. I love the tweet, and I think he's right. He says, the cycle has surprised me in many different ways, most notably Bitcoin not giving up more than 20% in a correction. Remember, in previous corrections, we gave up 30%, 40%, even 38%, 40%, right? He wonders how severe the next bear market will be, especially how intertwined Bitcoin is with the financial system. I think he's right here. I think that as Bitcoin becomes more institutionalized, we're going to have less brutal bear markets, right? So we're not going to have brutal bear markets like the ones that we used to have in the old days, because we're now much more institutionalized and we're much more aligned. Okay, then we've got this dude over here, Sensei, saying, are you ready for the bull run? He's kind of showing we are here relative to this, and that goes back to that summer tweet. Bitcoin's next move will be post-halving parabolic rally to the cycle top. Not many people are mentally prepared for this. I think this person here is also right. You just got to look at it, zoom out. Just basically zoom out. If you look at it every day, and I'm going to show you a tweet now. It's this tweet over here, where it says, when you look at Bitcoin in the last 8 years or so, bear markets seem like minor annoyance in a dominant uptrend, unless you happen to live on crypto Twitter, in which case it's the end of the world every single time. And that's basically what's happening here. You just need to zoom out. When you zoom out, what you remember is that every halving, the same thing happens. Every halving, we had 3 months of chop, 4 months of chop. So far, we've had 2 months of chop. I think it's longer. I think we've had about 120 days. So we've had about 4 months of chop. But post-halving, we've had 2 months of chop. And I think this person is actually 100% correct here. At the same time, remember, we still have that big catch-up trade to the S&P 500. Because the S&P 500 is at all-time highs. And if the S&P 500 is at all-time highs and Bitcoin has actually been moving sideways, something's going to correct. So either Bitcoin is leading the S&P or the S&P is leading Bitcoin. I think in this case, Bitcoin has the catch-up trade to the S&P, but I mean, we've always got to be open to both options. As I said, though, the main thing is zoom out. When you look at it in the big scheme of things, when you zoom out, you kind of know that it's all up. And the worst thing that can happen is that you get caught in this crypto Twitter echo chamber of people that think it's the end of the world every time there's a bear market. I think what's happening is people are dying of boredom. And I think that's what Chris Bernitzky says. He says, one of the things that he's come to appreciate about crypto over the years is that to remain unbothered by noise and volatility, just as accumulating and hodling and distributing where appropriate, you have to deeply believe. And that's basically what I agree with. I agree. Like, for me, we're still very, 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 very much in the bull market. There's nothing for me to change the thesis. We're actually still even in this range, and we're accumulating in this range, and it's a normal range, in which case I should be accumulating. And especially if you look at this, and again, zooming out, Bitcoin is the best performing asset 11 out of the last 14 years. So I think in this era, I think, we are moving sideways and we are moving choppiness. We are having the sideways choppiness. I do believe that this is an encouraging breakout, which I don't think that we've had in a long time. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can get the follow through. Let's see. But either way, I zoom out and I say we're definitely in the bull market, and and the smart money is actually starting to accumulate and accumulating quite aggressively. Now, there is one account that is accumulating extremely aggressively, and that is, they call him Mr. 100. Mr. 100 is this guy who buys 100 Bitcoin every single day. Now, big question as to who this Mr. 100 actually is. There is speculation that it's Michael Dell, and I don't really care whether it is or isn't Michael Dell, but there are some things that I want to point out about Michael Dell. Let's just for 1 second just make the assumption that Michael Dell is Mr. 100, okay? Or let's make the assumption that he's not Mr. 100. Let's look at what's going on here. So for one, someone's buying a lot of Bitcoin. For two, Michael Dell makes Michael Saylor look like a midget, okay? Like you think about like how much money Michael Saylor's got versus Michael Dell. Michael Dell has over $100 billion in Dell shares. Can you imagine that this guy has over $100 billion? That's his starting point to the game. Now, he seems to have got what I call the Michael Saylor infection. Okay, now what is the Michael Saylor infection? It's when you don't believe in Bitcoin, but then you discover it, and then everything that you think about becomes Bitcoin. Like I think I've even heard Michael Saylor saying something like Bitcoin is the answer to death. Did he say something like that? Like he said like it's immortality. He said Bitcoin is immortality. That's what he said. So I think that now what you're seeing is that Michael Dell has the Michael Saylor virus, and all he's thinking about, he's had like that penny drop moment that a lot of people have. And all he's thinking about is like Bitcoin. He's like, what do you think will be the next breakthrough in tech? Please vote and share your thoughts. Blockchain. Now, just a quick disclaimer here. I actually don't believe that this is a good poll. Why? Because I actually think that on crypto Twitter, I think quantum computing Twitter and AI Twitter and space tech Twitter aren't as powerful as crypto Twitter. So I think we're just a bunch of DJs. He asks, this is where I realized that he actually has the Michael Saylor virus, right? And why? He says, the most important thing, AI, Bitcoin, love and relationships, none of the above. Now, I mean, there's only one other person that I know that would ask questions like that, and he's the other Michael. Okay, so to me, I think Michael Dell has the Michael Saylor bug. Scarcity creates value was another one of his tweets. I can't see this guy not buying. So I think this guy's definitely going to be buying. So that is the Bitcoin story. Some billionaires, Peter Thiel, but remember, Peter Thiel is quite small. Let's just see if we've got his net worth here. Here we go. So Peter Thiel is very small relative to Michael Dell, but he's bigger than Michael Saylor. He got into Bitcoin very, very early. And I mean, listen to what he says.
Your Bitcoin?
I still hold some. There are all these ways I didn't buy as much as I should have, and I'm not sure it's going to go up that dramatically from here.
From here, you sold any of your Bitcoin?
So Peter Thiel's saying, look, he's got a whole lot of Bitcoin. He doesn't think that Bitcoin is going to go up as dramatically from here. And I think, well, if you've been in Bitcoin since $10 and it's at $70,000, I don't think that it's going to go much higher relative. I think he's now looking for the next return, which, by the way, is what we're looking for. We're saying, look, we're good with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's great, and you must hold Bitcoin. And in fact, Bitcoin is one of the biggest, if not the biggest part of my portfolio, because I keep a lot of my dry powder actually in Bitcoin these days, because I don't want to be in the US dollar. But we're here for the altcoins. And if you look at the altcoins, you can see that the market's giving you a whole lot of signs about the altcoins. You can see that KASPER's down. You can see ENS is up. 𝗕𝗤𝗓 is up. 𝗕𝗤𝗓 was a great buy at around the 270s. Now back at 343. I think that all the airdrop people have sold. And we'll talk about airdrops because there's a baked airdrop coming, and we want to see what happens about people that actually sell. So I think, like Josh the trader says, Josh, you see, I'm showing one of your tweets because you said, I don't show enough of your tweets. So I'm showing one of your tweets here. I'm actually going to leave it on the screen for like 4 seconds. Everyone, this is a tweet from Josh is trading. Josh, you know what you should do, bro? I'll give you like a bit of advice, right? Yeah. Get a blue tick. It's like $11 a month, bro.
No, I just changed my name. I'm waiting for it to come back.
Okay, so just pay the $11, bro. I can give you $11 if you want. Please. Yeah. Here's the $100 for you. Yeah, take the $100 and okay. So the next trade could be Ethereum. I think that is one of them. We have got the ETH ETF approval. They're now talking about the ETH ETF approval by the 8th. So the ETH ETF starting to trade by the 8th of July. Either way, it's coming very, very, very closely. Now, listen to what 𝗕𝗔𝗓𝗍 says about the ETH ETF approval. He says, Spot ETH ETFs will be the second most successful debut ETFs in history, only behind Spot Bitcoin's ETF. So 2 of the most successful ETF launches in the last 30 plus years will occur this year, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Are you paying attention yet? I agree with him, but that's not because I think the ETH ETF is going to be an amazing ETF launch. I just think that all the other ETFs and all the other are so insignificant relative to the crypto ETF that this is just going to be another sign that crypto is happening there. Now, in terms of buying the ETH trade, you know that we gave you guys a whole list of tokens to buy in the ETH trade. And I kind of said, look, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't look too deep when it comes to the ETH ETF trade. Buy the simple stuff. Buy ENS, buy Lido, buy Rocket Pool, buy Aave, buy all the big stuff. I gave you guys that spreadsheet with 3 tabs and I said level 1, level 2, level 3. So I think we're seeing now that the market is validating that, barring a couple of things. So the first thing is ENS is up a lot. Why is ENS up a lot? They are talking about ENS V2 project plan, and it looks like they're going to make an announcement at ETH Brussels. When is this? Let's just see when this event is. ETH Brussels is very soon, actually. I think it's on the 6th, Monday, the 8th of July. You see, so they are making an announcement on the 8th of July. Looks like insiders kind of know what's happening, and they love what's happening. Also, the market is looking for a trade on ETH. Now, the thing is, one of the big trades on ETH was actually Lido. The issue with Lido is that Lido got served that summons by the SEC. And now the SEC is going after Lido for their staking program. Let's just quickly see. Here it is. I think I had something here about Lido and the staking program. Let's see where it is. Let's just quickly see if we've got it. Here we go. So the SEC is basically saying the Lido and Rocket Pool staking programs are offered and sold as investment contracts and therefore securities, specifically as described in more detailed. Investors make the investment in ETH in common enterprise with a reasonable expectation of profits as per the Howey test from the managerial efforts of Lido and Rocket Pool respectively. Yet neither Lido nor Rocket Pool have filed a registration with the SEC. So that is why Lido is not performing very well. Now, question, you got to ask yourself a question. Right now, the SEC has basically got cases against Uniswap, Kraken, Coinbase, MetaMask, and Robinhood. That's pretty much where it is. And now Lido, and now Rocket Pool. Okay, so just look at the list of cases that the SEC is going after. So how does this end? Well, there's a big chance that the SEC start losing, like they lost against Ripple and like they're probably going to lose against Coinbase, because these guys have got a lot of money and these guys will actually start fighting back. That's option number 1. Option number 2 goes down to the presidential debates and the presidential race. And here's why I say that. All these cases are open. Do you remember that the Ripple case against the SEC was actually opened by Jay Clayton, who was the previous SEC chair? On the last day that he was in office, he opened the case against Ripple and then he left. And he kind of left the current SEC fighting a battle that he started. So it's almost like, if you think about it, imagine me and you go to a nightclub or a bar, and then like I'm just about to go home, and then what I do is I go and punch, or I don't know, I slap some girl's bum who's got a boyfriend, and then I leave you with the girl. You see? It's like you're just gonna you're gonna have the fight. Now, I don't think that a new SEC that's not headed up by Gary Gensler and the pricks that are currently there is going to fight as aggressively against crypto. I'm sorry, I just don't see it happening. So I think a lot of it comes down to the presidential debate. And I want to talk about the presidential debates. I really want to talk about the presidential debates. So I wasn't here last week when the presidential debates happened. But I think we can all agree that the presidential debates were an absolute embarrassment.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more.
I love Trump's face here.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we have
So I think number 1 is if Trump lands up running against Biden, then I think it's a landslide victory for Trump. Even if he gets sentenced to jail, he gets sentenced in July. Even if he gets sentenced, I think it's the 14th of July or something like that. What is the date where he gets sentenced? Do you know? We'll find out. I think he may even go to jail. I think if he runs against Biden, I think the US consensus is that Biden is ridiculous.
1%. So no one after, I would not raise the cost of Social Security.
I mean,
for
we
anybody.
all know that he's going to run to lose to Biden, and I think it's now clear that Biden is in cognitive decline, and there's just no way that he can be the next president of the United States. But as I understand the laws of the United States, by the 4th of August, they've got to have their new candidate with the name on the ballot. I think the date is the 4th of August, and I read that in a tweet by 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗓𝗡𝗧. And he said, like, the 4th of August is D-Day. So the question is, will Joe Biden leave before the 4th of August? Someone says, one of our researchers says the 11th of July. So 11th of July, Trump gets sentenced. Okay. Now, question is, what happens? Best case scenario, they keep Biden in. Trump wins in a landslide victory because he can't lose against Biden. It's impossible. We've just seen it. Just keep quiet. And then we have a much better SEC because Trump comes in, he's crypto friendly. I mean, the guy's talking at a Bitcoin conference in Nashville. He seems to like the ego masturbation that the crypto people do for him. You know, like, think about it like this. When you're dealing with other communities, they're not as powerful as the crypto community. You come to this community and imagine a personality like Trump. Now, if there's one thing that Trump likes, it's his ego being stroked. And he comes to crypto Twitter and he says one thing about Bitcoin. All of a sudden, 10,000 fucking people tweeting at him, passionately throwing money at him, throwing Bitcoin at him. He's thinking, geez, like, these crypto people are the best people ever. It's like, for a guy who loves ego masturbation, there's nothing better in the world than going into crypto, right? And so I think that if we get a Trump wins, Trump wins, we get a great SEC. My bigger concern is this. Sorry, now it wants me to pay a fucking paywall. But it says here, Newsom could be plan B. Now, I'm not really scared of Newsom. I think it's either Newsom or Michelle Obama. I think Michelle Obama is really scary, also because apparently she was a man. But otherwise, I think she's really scary if she goes up against Trump because she's a female and she's got the right credentials, etc. And the one that I'm a little bit more worried about is Newsom because Newsom is a master orator.
Questions about whether Biden should step down. There is panic that has set in. There is panic that has set in among people who have watched this debate, who are Democrats, people who are strategists, and some even inside Democratic campaigns. Yeah. Do you think it's unfounded?
Well, I think it's unhelpful, and I think it's unnecessary. We've got to go in and got to keep our heads high.
This guy's fucking smooth. Okay, now what you'll agree with me is in the debate, Biden lost the debate. It doesn't mean that Trump won the debate because Trump wasn't amazing in his performance. I actually think Trump could have done a lot better. And the thing is that if Trump has to go up against a smooth talker here, then it's maybe slightly different. Anyway, why is it important to us? We want a better SEC, and I think we'll get a better SEC. I mean, I love this. I don't want to talk much more about this, but this is the best part of the world. This is for people who don't know. This is Jill Biden. This is Joe Biden's wife. He looks like a nursery school kid, and she's saying, "You answered all the questions correctly. Well done." This is how my wife speaks to my 4-year-old son.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the...
Just do me a favor. Just do me a favor. Just do me a favor. Close your eyes. I'm going to play this, and you think about a mother talking to her 4-year-old child. But just try. Trust me. Close your eyes for 1 second. Think about a 4-year-old child. The 4-year-old child's name is Joe, okay? And now close your eyes and think that you are in play school. So just close your eyes.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the... And let me ask the crowd.
What did the big boy do at school? He lied.
Did Trump do? Lie. Yes.
I mean, this is honestly, like someone just give Joe Biden a gold star and let him take it home to his mommy so that they can see it. Anyway, what we're hoping for is we're hoping for a friendly SEC. We really are hoping for a friendly SEC. When we get a friendly SEC, one of a few things can happen. They could drop the cases. They could maybe not drop it, but just settle the cases. So just like, listen, small fine, you pay a penalty, I pay a penalty, small fine, and we move on. And that's probably what will end up happening. And I think that's what's happened while I was gone. there was these ETF applications for Solana, which were very, very, very strange ETF applications for Solana. Why were they very strange ETF applications? Because why would you apply for an ETF on Solana, a spot ETF, when there's no futures ETF? And the reason why I say that is because we know that the only reason the Bitcoin and ETH ETFs were approved was because there were futures ETFs already. And because the court, when Grayscale took the SEC to court, the court said you're arbitrary and capricious if you treat a futures ETF different from a spot ETF. So you got to ask yourself a question. What is Van Eck thinking, and what is 21 Shares thinking, applying for a Bitcoin spot ETF before there is a Solana spot ETF before there is a Solana futures ETF? Here's the answer. One of two things. One, they want marketing. So Van Eck won marketing, they apply for an ETF, it puts them on the map. We were the first people to apply for Solana ETF. The other thing is they could just be taking a bet on a more favorable SEC and on Biden losing the elections. And when that happens, maybe the SEC will come in and say, you know what, let's just approve a Solana ETF because Solana is not a security, and there's no reason for us to hold this. Okay, so that is the bet that the guys are taking here. Let's carry on looking at altcoins. I want to talk about specifically an altcoin that is not doing so well. Let's look at it. So you've got KASPER. KASPER not doing very well. 10% down. Now, KASPER's had a great run. When I say a great run, just look. Let's just click on the bubble. Look at the years. 6x this year. 6x this year. So why is KASPER down? I think KASPER had an amazing week last week. The reason why KASPER had an amazing week last week, two things happened last week which were huge. The first thing, which I think was much bigger than people actually realized, and to be honest, actually caught me by surprise. I didn't know about this. Is this Marathon, which is like one of the biggest Bitcoin miners in the world, said, hey, we've actually been actively mining KASPER. That's huge. Like, you think about like one of the biggest miners in the world securing a network, and now they're saying, hey, you know what, we've actually been mining KASPER, and they actually in the press release they say, and it's actually been like good for us. So the first thing is they got a good announcement that Marathon and maybe even others are going to come out and say, shit, you know, we're actually going to be mining this thing, thereby securing the KASPER network even more. That's huge. You got to admit that that's absolutely huge. Then they also launched this KRC20 standard, or they announced that they were going to launch this KRC20 standard. What is this? Is it KRC or KR20? KRC20. What is KRC20? Effectively, it's like launching ERC20s on Ethereum. It's the tokens that you launch on top of the network. And what this means is that we're getting into the era of meme coins and other projects building on KASPER, right? Now, look, it wasn't the reason why KASPER went down is because the launch wasn't a great launch. And I think that's fine. Someone says, bring around some water. I've got water. Yeah. There we go. So, So this launch didn't go very well. I think yesterday when they launched the KASPER KRC20 standard and they started launching these tokens, I think a lot of things happened. The network was fine, but identified some issues with the RPC, with wallets, with SEX integration. So a lot of mistakes happened, problems, and now they're starting to fix those mistakes. And so this is how it is. This is what people need to understand. When we're dealing with new technology, we're experimenting. That's what we're doing. We're experimenting. If the experiments go well, we change the world. If they don't, we try again and we fix. And that's what KASPER are doing. They're fixing, repairing, and they're going to make it good. Now, there's two ways to look at this. On the one hand, you can choose to sit out and wait for them to resolve all their problems before you actually get into KASPER. On the other hand, what you can say is, look, I'm willing to be an early adopter. I'm willing to put some money in that I'm willing to lose. And if I win, I know I'm going to win big because I was willing to get in when no one else got in. If I lose, well, I was willing to lose all that money anyway. And so, I mean, look, we did do a show about this a while back, and I said, look, if you want to go into KASPER, and if you believe that meme coins are a proxy for the chain. Now, there's some people that believe that, and there's some people who don't believe that. I believe that right now that is the case. That's why Resistance Dog is doing so well on Ton. Sorry, I see some messages coming through. Oh, amazing! Here we go. We have a lot to talk about. This is very good. This is very, very good. Okay. So where were we? We were talking about, so I did say, look, I do think that meme coins right now represent mascots on a chain and they're like a proxy for the chain. So if you think Casper is going to do well, try get your hands into meme coins. Now, I spoke about meme coins, and again, I have no idea. I've never spoken to any of these teams. But there are some that instinctively just feel right for me on Casper. What are the ones that instinctively feel right? First one is Casper the Ghost. Now, the reason why I like Casper the Ghost of Casper is because the only chain that can actually have a ghost is Casper. You know, like Casper, Ghost, Casper chain. The second one, which I like, is KASPER, because I like the dog, and every chain must have a dog. So, look, I'm not telling you to go and buy these things. I'm saying if you are going to do it, remember it's the very, very, very early stages. The Casper chain is not really a very good, it is a very good technology chain. But the technology of the KRC20s, which is this new token standard, is not ready yet. And you can see they're having some teething problems. But if you want to go and check it out, go and check it out. Go get your wallet. There's again, like the wallet provider is the 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗓 wallet. I don't know how good this 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗓 wallet is. But it's up to you guys. It's up to you guys. It's up to you guys to decide whether or not you want to go into it. I'm personally probably going to take a position in Casper the Ghost and KASPER the dog. Very small. Also, just because I want to learn how to use the chain. I want to learn how to use the Casper chain. I haven't really done it. I haven't used the Casper chain a lot. I've just bought my Casper there. Yeah. So that's that. Let's go on to some other things. In fact, let's get on to the topic of the day, because I still see that there's some what do you call them? Salty people in the house regarding Baked. So look, to be honest, not really. The Baked wasn't really the best success and wasn't as big as we expected it to be. And as I said to you yesterday, we did a whole show yesterday around why we decided to launch Baked the way we launched Baked. We had a choice to make. The choice was to either do what we did with Gummy and do what they call an insider launch, where we snipe our own tokens, right? So we snipe our own tokens. And like with Gummy, we landed up burning them. We were going to airdrop them. We were going to airdrop them, but we landed up burning them. The reason why we landed up burning them and not airdropping them was because if you airdrop tokens and you give away free tokens to everyone, there's only ever going to be sell pressure, right? There's not going to be buy pressure because everyone's just getting their tokens for free. And what do you do when you get tokens for free? You dump them. That's pretty much what people do. So we decided to go the other way, and we went and launched it through 𝗕𝗔𝗡, which is supposed to be a fair launch platform. And we're following up on exactly what happened. We spoke about it last night on a Twitter Spaces. If you missed the Twitter Spaces got dragged after like an hour. I spoke to Mario. It was Mario's phone that ran out of battery, and Mario was the host of the whole thing. But you can go listen to that. That is on my Twitter. The main thing is, what we currently know is that we got sniped, and we got sniped pretty badly, right? We got sniped pretty badly. In fact, one of the snipers that sniped us actually made $3 million. He made $3 million. You can see it over here. You can actually see it on chain as well. But it looks like there may have been some other snipers. We are following a thread right now, and we're going through address by address. Some of these addresses we know about, because some of these addresses were the addresses to capture the tokens for the tokenomics, which we actually announced on the Based website. Like, we announced that we have to capture 40% of the tokens ourselves, right? Because if we don't capture 40% of the tokens ourselves, we wouldn't have money to pay the gummy stakers, the future airdrops, because exchanges have like big listing fees and listing criteria, and we want a lot of exchange listings for Baked, and 10% for the market makers, because we need market makers on the DEXs and all the sexes. So we know about 40% that was captured. Look on chain is talking about 70% that was captured. And that's what I'm investigating at the moment. I'm going through it one by one with our market makers one by one. We can account for 40% of the tokens. We know about 40% of the tokens. We also know about the sniper. So this girl, I don't know who she is, but she summed it up very well. I'll play it for you if I can just find it. Yeah, she summed it up very well.
Here is why Rand is not a scam.
I mean, thanks. She says,
Scammer. People keep saying that there was a delay when the contract was launched, but you can see that it was posted on X at 4:40 p.m. according to my time zone. And the first candle started immediately at 4:41 p.m. Now here comes the sniper's job. He sniped the token as soon as it hit radium at 120k market cap. He swapped 70 SOL and got 81 plus million tokens. Well, now comes the best part for him. He started to take profits and volume, which you can see here. Once he was done, he showed off his win in the Peppermint's Discord group. Basically, here is our sniper, guys. Soon after that, Peppermint's account tweeted the win on X. In my opinion, this has been a fair launch and Ran has been super transparent.
so it's been there. Someone says, listen, the launch was released early. The link didn't work. The link is not our link. The link is, it's a foreign, it's a site, 𝗕𝗔𝗞𝗘. It's their link. We don't control that link. They also admitted, so Peppermint's actually admitted, and funny enough, it seems like now they are trolling. They're not. I'll show you what I mean. So they say, Peppermint says, we already told you this wasn't an insider, it was just an average Pepper win, but thanks for the promo, honey. So it looks like they're sniping us at the moment. So where are we now at the moment? We can now account for the snipe. We can account for 40% of all the other tokens. And we're working through the synopsis that look on-chain did, so we can account for all the other wallets to see if we were maybe sniped even more. I don't know. We'll find out everything. We'll find out whether our market makers are in there. We'll find out everything. What's happening now is we are carrying on moving forward because we hope that all the snipers are out and everything is out, okay? So we are moving forward and we are carrying on. We're not going to support the price. We're not going to let our market makers into the market because what we want is we just want the FUD. People who want to get out should get out. People who don't want to be part of the journey, let them get out of the token now. Get out. Let the people, the airdrop claim will open in a couple of minutes. When will the airdrop claim open? In an hour, right? So let's just quickly talk about the airdrops. Here we go. Let's quickly go to the airdrops. So if you are watching this and you want to claim your free gummy airdrop, please, I'm begging you, the only site to claim your airdrop is this site over here. It's at the bottom of the thing and it's on the baked airdrop, a baked token Twitter page. Please do not connect your wallet to anybody, to any other site, because I know that there are wallet drainers, just like there were snipers waiting for us. There are wallet drainers waiting for us. This is the only scam. This is the only link that's not a scam. It opens in 1 hour. Now, for me, it's very simple. If you want to, we don't want the same thing that happened on Gummy to happen on Baked. If you guys want to sell. We're not going to support the price. And actually, to be honest, we want the price to go down. Sell it, dump it, get out of the way. When all the FUD and all the people are completely out the way, right? When all the FUD and all the people are completely out the way, that is when we will continue with our plans on Gummy, when we'll mobilize the market maker and whatever else. In the meantime, we are continuing. We've got our first exchange listing. We've got 𝗕𝗤𝗙. 𝗕𝗤𝗙 have made an announcement that they are listing the token when. Let's just quickly see. I know we had here we go. They had an announcement. We'll list at 2 UTC. That means it's now, isn't it? Okay, so 𝗕𝗤𝗙 has now listed it. If you want to sign up for 𝗕𝗤𝗙, there is a link over here. You can actually trade it on a centralized exchange. Someone says Soulstorm don't work with Ledger. I don't know if Soulstorm work with Ledger. Reality is that sniped 1,000 more coverage will hit CNN next dose genius. These comments are moving too quickly. Will Gummy ever? So let's talk about Gummy. So Gummy also went down. Why did Gummy go down? Because a lot of people unstaked their Gummy once they got their baked and sold. Are we going to go in and start supporting the Gummy price? Absolutely not. Let everybody who wants to sell. Go sell, dump as much as you can. And then let's get all the weak hands out, and then let's get moving with the show. Let's get moving with the show. We're not going to sit here and try and push price up and try and do amazing things. The people that want to sell, let them sell. The people that want to stay in, let them stay in. For the people that are saying it's a scam, if you believe that you could have done it better, then great, do it. Go listen to the spaces we did last night. I asked people, I said, how else should I have done it? They said, well, the only suggestion that I got on the spaces was you should have done an inside launch and basically giving insiders the contract before everybody else. I don't think that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So what's the next steps? Number one, we're working through the looks on chain. They've got a list of all the wallets. We're working through it. Number two, we're going to label the wallets that we know. So we know the dev wallets. We know the market maker wallets. We know the wallets that have been put aside for the sexes. We know the sniper wallets as well. We're going to label all the wallets, and then we're going to start looking for all the missing wallets. And once that's done, they will be what's it called? They will be everything will be labeled, and then we can go on from there. Someone says cannot unstake 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗢𝗓. Is there any reason why people can't unstake 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗓? Okay, there shouldn't be a reason. Let us know if you guys. Someone says relaunch. Guys, why are we going to relaunch? It's going to get sniped again if we relaunch, unless we snipe our own token and then have to do another 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 and burn the thing. Sniper went in, sniper went out, sniper's gone. Sniper's gone now. We are accounting for all the other tokens. We know of, as I said, we know of 40% of the tokens because they're with us. In some shape or form, they're with us, either with our market makers or through the dev wallets, which hold the airdrops. We're going to start labeling all the different airdrops. This 10% is going to be available for you guys to claim in the next 50 minutes. Then you can make a decision whether you want to sell or not. We're not going to support the price. Also, as you can see, the liquidity is quite low. We did that on purpose. The liquidity is quite low on purpose. Why? Why should I put liquidity in so that people who got free tokens can dump? You want to dump, and we'll buy them back, or we'll put in liquidity afterwards. Again, a lot of people are saying got scammed. Tell me how you got scammed. The fact that we got sniped. I want to hear how you guys got scammed. Maybe you were expecting to make hundreds of millions of dollars for free. Maybe, but that's not my problem. Someone says, what about the Banter Bubbles 𝗕𝗢𝗓𝗓 airdrop? When did we say the Banter Bubbles 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 airdrop was going to happen? End of July? End of July. That's happening end of July. People are saying when Banter Bubbles airdrop end of July. Guys, it's all on the 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 page. All on the 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 page. Anyway, I will keep bringing you news as we have news, as we work through every one of the addresses. The team are right now labeling all the wallets one by one. They're going through them with the market makers. In the meantime, those who want to dump. Those who don't want to dump, hold. We'll wait for everything to happen, and we're not going to support the price. So go for it, dump. Let's get all the weekends out. Let's get all the weekends out. Weekends, not weekends. Weekends. I can't. Someone says they can't unstake. Josh, you must check why people can't unstake 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗓𝗓. Ryan, your market maker sold 300K. I think he may have sold 300K, but I think he may have bought back. That's what market makers do. They buy and they sell. They make liquidity. But I will check. I will check all of it. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Seth. I think Seth said he's got some calls for us today. Has he got calls? Has he got calls? Okay, but I'm only letting Seth on if he's got like proper fucking calls. Okay, let's see.
Good calls.
Have you got good calls?
I got good calls. Got good calls for you
What
guys.
you got for us? So for those of you who don't know, Seth runs a company called EasyAlgo. What they do is it's a trading algo. And what this trading algo does, it charts stuff and it automatically tells you when you should buy and when you should sell. So show me what are your calls saying? I'm going to share your screen. That's your screen.
Can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, awesome. So guys, today is a very good day for EasyAlgo because we have the new pivots being produced. Every Monday we get the new weekly pivots. And what we look for is these narrow pivots.
Yeah, the narrow ones are the ones. The narrow ones are the ones that are like the tight range. That's the one that's the big moves.
Yes, that's letting us know there's squeezes happening with these tokens, and we can look for very good entries and potentially trending markets happen with these coins. So we've got 𝗕𝗓𝗡𝗓, and 𝗕𝗓𝗡𝗓 started, you can see, with a very narrow grid. We got this big move happen to the upside. So I'm looking for the retrace in this zone over here and potentially catching it for a nice move. I think there's going to be a big move coiling up with 𝗕𝗓𝗡𝗓 because we've got these narrow pivots occurring. Then over here, we've got drift.
Is it a Seth, is it a short-term move or a long-term move?
I think it's more of a short-term move because we're still underneath the monthly pivot, the red over here. Mm-hmm. So I think for now, it's still a short-term move, and I'm not confident in holding long positions until price can get over these monthly pivots. You see this red over here. This is the monthly pivot. So I would need price to get on top of that before I can feel convinced of long-term moves. So these will just be smaller movements for now until the market is more in our favor.
Okay, next move.
Then we've got drift over here, drift protocol, and you can see here, look, price is above the monthly, which is the red, and the weekly, and it is super, super narrow. When we get these super narrows, guys, we often get big moves. So I'm looking for something to happen here. Price has come down, retested. So I'm looking for price to come back into this box. And then our take profit region, our first one would be around here at the 0.5072, and the second would be 0.5494. This one, I'm looking at a bit of a bigger move happening because we've got the monthly and the weekly looking super narrow, and price is above both of those pivots, which indicates to us we're in quite a bullish scenario for drift protocol. Okay, then we've got AIOZ. We're in the same scenario over here. You can see AIOZ price is above the monthly and the weekly pivots. We've got super narrow monthlies as well, which is letting us know that that price can potentially launch off of here. We already had a move this morning coming back to retest. So I'm looking to take my entry very close to the entry zone, but I'll first wait for price to show a bit of support over here, maybe like another up and down over here, and then we'd look to take an entry as well. Our take profit for this will be a bit bigger because you can see whenever price is above a monthly and a weekly, we can have a bit of a bigger take profit regions. Then we've got Atom over here as well, which is, you can see, it's also got a super narrow, and last week was super narrow as well. So this month is even more narrow than this week was more narrow than last week. So you can see we're coiling up. There's a squeeze occurring. So I'm just waiting for price to come down into the low of the range over here to look for a nice entry on Atom. We're also underneath the monthly for Atom. So I'm not looking to take too big of profits on this. I'm just looking for a smaller take profit region because we're still under the monthly pivots. And then lastly, we've got GRT as well. And look, we got a super, super narrow pivot. This pivot, weekly pivot, is inside the previous week, which is showing us it's inside pivots. And these are some of the highest probability trades we can take. Also, we're still underneath the monthly, so we're only looking for short profit targets. But I'm waiting for price to come down into the low of the range. And this is the potential area where I'm looking to take a trade.
Okay, question. Seth, if you buy the EasyAlgo tool, right? If you subscribe to it, is there something that actually scans the market and tells you where the trades are, or do you have to go like chart by chart by chart?
We've got a scanner that will scan the market, and it'll bring you the high probability trades. So it'll bring you sometimes 10 or 15. And then based on those, you open them up and we show you exactly the best areas to enter those trades on the chart.
Okay, guys, sign up here. There's a 3-day trial period. Check it out. If you don't like it after 3 days, just cancel your thing. There's a link at the bottom of the show. I've got to jump onto your Twitter Spaces. Seth, much love to you, my friend.
Thank you so much. Much love.
I cut him off. Hold on. Well, I cut you off. Much love, brother. Much love.
Thanks, brother. Much love.
Yeah.
Ciao, ciao.
I will see you guys again tomorrow. I've got to jump onto Twitter Spaces. Until then, trade well, my friends.